What's going on, everyone? This is Sherry, and you are tuned into She Said What She Said, the podcast where we interview badass women in the sports world and beyond. And I know my co host is super excited about our guest tonight. And so that got me super excited once I started reading all of her bios. So, not doing the sports world tonight, but that's okay because there are so many amazing and incredible women in all areas of life. And so, very, very geeked to get this one going. So without further ado, let's bring in my number one bae. Hey, Faye.
Hey, what's going on, Miss Sherry?
Oh, just trying to not die because I sprained my ankle doing ninja last night. That's fine.
Girl, the ninjaries.
It's honestly actually surprising that I've been doing OCR races and ninja for so long and have yet to actually knock myself out of something.
You're lucky.
So I know.
Welcome to the world. I'm sorry to hear that, and I know you have a vacation possibly scheduled, so that's rough.
Yeah, it is what it is. Stuff can get rescheduled. So
Yep. To give you some time to sit around and do nothing. The weather is not really conducive. The weather's conducive to just sitting around and doing nothing.
I don't do that well with sitting around and doing nothing at
I know
all.
you don't.
All right, how can I get to the gym in a boot? Can't walk to the gym, can't drive because it's my right. It's like, who's
Oh, it's your right. Oh gosh, you'll make it work. I was in a cast for like 8 weeks and I did it all. So it was my left, but still, you'll make it work. And you'll find too that the boot's pretty stable. So when you're walking on it, they say obviously not to walk on it as much as possible, but you'll be fine.
I think in a few days it will be. Right now it's pretty because I've blown out my left ankle before, so that was needed boot casts crutches, needed the boot. I think I was in the boot for 6 weeks. So this is not that. This isn't that. So that's why I'm like, guys, it's not that bad. And I'm like, oh, it's actually pretty bad. It's just not a complete boom.
Yeah, at least it's not broken. So that's good.
Lord. Yeah. And when I'm feeling a little bit less in my feelings, I will post the video of it because I was going from a reverse cliffhanger into a lache. So I do think it would be cool. But I was trying to lache onto the salmon ladder and it moved and it fell. And then I had to move the mat correctly because it was set up for the salmon ladder, not for lacheing. And so it would be a cool sequence if I had nailed it. But
Instead,
oh girl, here we are. But anyways, that's enough about my woes of the day. Tell us about our guest for tonight.
Super excited, y'all. So
yes,
I am. So a very, very close friend of mine, Sharon Lynch, is friends with this woman, Carrie Jo Little. She is a badass, because this is what we do here. We talk to badass women and Sharon knows her through the real estate world. And in going through her bio, I found out that she is she's a broker owner, so in Florida and here in Chicago, in Illinois, and she also is continuing education instructor. She's a trainer, keynote speaker. What I loved about her is she's on Instagram and Facebook, and she's got her own YouTube show as well that she does. And she really helps, whether it's real estate, which I found it's very real estate based, but what I thought is so important is that just business owners in general really can utilize her information. And I love her mantra, which is called "Figure out how to figure it out." So that was, I think, pretty awesome. But her background is really in digital marketing, television editing, commercial real estate, and technology. So she's kind of this full force of everything. And she utilizes all those in really bringing some valued information to her audience. And, she's got great energy. And so with all these, let's find out a little bit more about this lovely lady, Carrie Jo Little.
Hey, hello.
Hello. Thank you, Phaedra and Sherry. You made me sound good, but I'm listening to the conversation and I'm like, okay, well, in high school, I was a cheerleader. Back then it might not have been a sport, and I'm a really, really good swimmer.
Okay.
So I can play in the sandbox of athlete.
I
There you
love
go.
this. See, you learned something new. So, open water swimmer, pool swimmer.
You know, I'll say pool swimmer, but I have swam in the open water. I like to see the bottom, but I'm not afraid of the ocean.
Okay, got it. You know, now would you ever like do like a triathlon competition where everyone's trying to kick each other in the open water, or
Yeah, I
would
can.
you?
I would. I would.
Oh,
I have my original knee injury from high school cheerleader. So once I get that fixed, I always say I want to do a triathlon, but I think it would have to be like the Naperville, Illinois version first.
Oh, yeah. It's still a triathlon. I mean, it's nice and flat. It's fast.
it doesn't have to
Easy.
be. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You've told me. So guess what?
Okay.
now
I know.
it's because one of our good friends, Rachel, did her first half iron last year. So we will look at the schedule. We'll find a sprint triathlon for you, circle it in the date, and it's on. Let's
Okay.
go.
All right. Let me
Doing
go.
it.
Let me go see this knee doctor, and then
There you
let's get the knee
go.
fixed, and then
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
yeah. Okay, I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit. You said behind people don't call you Carrie Joe; they call you Carrie J
They just call me
or
Carrie.
Carrie. Carrie.
Just
Okay.
Carrie. Because the story is,
Mhm.
when my mother had us, and I say us because only one of us was supposed to happen. She woke up from a C-section with 2 babies, so it's really Carrie Joe and Mina Joe. But
Mhm.
the only people that call us Carrie Joe and Mina Joe are people that went to kindergarten with us.
Nice.
Okay.
But
But
you
I
still
say
use it now.
I do because Carrie Little is common,
Mm.
Oh,
and I figured if I'm Carrie Joe and you Google me, you'll find me.
yes.
I mean, I like it. I like the way it sounds because I was like, oh,
It's
Carrie
cute.
Joe.
I know,
Like
Carrie Joe.
it's
A little
got a
fast to
nice
it.
it's got a nice little ring to it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if there's another Carrie in the room, I become Carrie Joe.
That's fair.
That
So
works.
easy.
That works. Very nice. Well, since we started a little bit with the way back when. Give us a little bit, and I had said a few things, but there's so much. And when you and I had spoken before, I just like, how about you give us a little bit about your background that's kind of brought you to where you're at now?
So decades ago, because I'm a 70s baby, what got me to where I am today was probably by mistake. The story is when I was about 20 years old, I got hired at a technology company based on my identical twin sister's skills. So it was kind of
Nice.
by mistake
Mm-hmm.
because in high school, I learned how to sew,
Mm-hmm.
wood shop, and I love PE. So I was going to be a famous, clothing designer one day. And my identical twin worked for a small business in Addison, Illinois as a temp. And then when she left, the assignment, if you've ever worked for a temp company, it either ends or they buy it out.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't buy her contract out. So she ended up working for someone else, and they called her and she was like, you know what? I already have a job, but I have a twin. I literally went to this tech company and they just said, you're hired. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even know how to type. So I had to go to Triton College to learn how to type. And, people are like, well, what do you mean you had to go to college? So when I graduated from high school, I went to Iowa State University, and then I got
Excellent
pregnant.
women's basketball.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
first of all, just it's Iowa University because I saw the game Monday night, so it's just cool to watch. But I went to Iowa State, came home, got pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and so I became a very young mom. So I went to work full time, and I went to Triton College part time, and I had to go there to learn how to type because now I was going to be the administrative assistant, the executive assistant to the vice president of a company based on my twin sister's skills.
Nice.
So that's how I got into tech, pretty much
Okay.
by mistake. So young mom and in tech.
All right. Very nice.
I love that. So my dad owned a tech company, started it in the 70s. And so I learned how to type with a little Mario game when I was in elementary school. But no one else knew how to type, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was definitely an early skill. Your fans are already coming in, by the way.
There we go.
We got the other half of the twin.
Yeah, Dr.
Hi,
Mina.
Mina.
So
Okay.
she's Dr. Mina. I'm Carrie. I won't say I'm just Carrie because she has her doctorate and I just got as far as my master's.
Oh,
Yeah.
only. What is her doctorate in?
Education. Like
Ooh.
she's just like science and technology. So
Oh,
so
cool.
shout out to Dr. Blazy. So
Yes.
she's been a
I
science
love
teacher.
it.
She has been an assistant principal. She opened a
Mm.
school and now she's over data and research for Beaumont County School District in California. And so we speak on AI and bias.
Ooh,
Oh,
I love it. And by the way, Sue says
hi,
hi,
Sue.
and our guy Frank says
Frank.
hello, hello. So you've already sparked one of my things that I love to talk about. So we're going to go right here. AI bias. That is one of the topics that like learning about. Whoa, holy crap. Like tell us about it and
Yeah.
how we can get over this, like what kind of moving forward.
So I'm going to talk to you from, because I'm a real estate agent, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
broker owner. I got in the industry in 97.
Okay.
And so and tech was just easy to me. And then now we have artificial intelligence. And
Mm-hmm.
artificial intelligence has been around since the 40s.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna shout out to my twin because she's the one that does the research on the bias. But we quickly learned when AI, and I'll say ChatGPT, Perplexity,
Mm-hmm.
Bard, all these other tools, Midjourney, Discord, when you get access to all of these other tools, you use them in, even if it's just asking a question. These systems are built by people that, and not everyone has a bias against different groups, but we all have a bias,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not. We're all raised differently. I come from a very diverse household. My mother's white, my dad's black. We all think differently. But when technology is built by people that have a bias.
Mm-hmm.
So even in the real estate industry, when I use AI, or I teach real estate agents how to use artificial intelligence, I'm like, you have to be very specific and you have to make sure you don't violate fair housing. You have to make
Mm.
sure that you are using license law in your state and maybe even the code of ethics. So when we use it, because I've asked, AI to create an image of a real estate agent working in New York in a coffee shop. And AI will typically give me a white female with blonde hair.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because it's how it's built based on people that have a natural bias. And so
Mm.
even today on the news on Good Morning America, someone was interviewed about these biases. And the key is you have to learn how to ask better questions. And these
Mm.
companies are doing a better job because even Google with Gemini, they paused the ability to create images because they didn't get it right.
Right. I remember reading about that it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have someone that's not a straight white man building
For
this.
you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they were showing images where they would ask, and give me an image of someone that's poor, and it would depict someone that was a male, a black male, and there's
Mhm.
there's someone that's poor in every different group.
Totally.
So the key is we just have to when we deal with AI, you just have to learn how to ask better questions.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like that. So what you were in tech, and then you got into real estate. What made you never became that fashion designer? Although I absolutely it makes sense because you're gorgeous, your style is great, and your nails are fire.
I'm fine. Yeah.
Right? It's the bling bling.
I know.
So
I
you
love
still
it.
got that fashion in you. But what brought you into the real estate world?
So first of all, I'm a mom. I was, recently married at the time, and I wanted a house.
Mm.
And I remember in 97 in July going through the process of buying a home. I worked for a company called NEC Technologies. And at the time, and I don't, this is for an entrepreneur or anyone, I literally split my paycheck so I could save money for the down payment,
Mm.
not realizing I didn't need 20%. I went to look at new
Mhm.
construction with my realtor who helped me out. And she was the one that helped me understand that there were programs available.
Mhm.
So in July, I went under contract with new construction. And from July through November, I paid about $1,000 a month in addition to my rent. to come up with the 5% down, because the new construction site had to have 5% down. And not everyone is blessed to have a parent that could also contribute. So my mother contributed a little bit, and I lived out of Aldi. So, I mean, literally beans and rice, because I wanted this house so badly. I was sick and tired of people running down the hallway. Someone had thrown cooking grease on my car because I parked in their space. So,
Jesus.
right. And then if you don't know you have cooking grease on your windshield and you use the windshield wipers, I was done. I couldn't go to work. So I became motivated to buy because I just wanted my own space. But when I went through the process, my real estate agent, who now, Vivian Tarver, who happens to be an attorney, she knew more than the loan officer, and she knew more than the attorney. And she helped me go through the new construction process to the point where I didn't make bad decisions. And when I was finished, I didn't realize the mortgage company never told me I could own. I never knew I could own until they handed me the keys. Like, I felt like the process could be easier. And so I actually ended up working for that builder part-time, and that is what motivated me to buy, because I didn't think I could purchase. And so if I didn't think I could purchase and I had a decent income, I felt like, you know what? I need to go tell everyone that they can actually purchase. And that's what motivated me to get into real estate. It wasn't even about, this is HGTV and I want to go look at houses. No.
Right.
It was, I wanted people to realize that they don't have to rent if they don't want to, that they can purchase. So that's what made me get in.
And so you got into that, which is great. And did you have a focus, coming from a mixed background? Was your focus getting in? Is it like just people in general? Were you like then focused more on like, because you had such a great realtor, it's like, okay, so getting in, helping, women, minorities, getting all that information. Was that kind of like where you wanted to go with it, or you didn't really know at first, you just knew you wanted to help people?
So I didn't know what to do. And when you get your real estate license, we're all incompetent when you pass the exam. You just pass the legal part.
Right.
And so now you get into the business and you have to learn. I just remember calling everyone I knew, my family and friends, and I said, I'm a real estate agent. I don't quite know what I'm doing yet, but I have a broker that will help me. Let me help you buy. And I was in Wheaton, Illinois. So we're just going to keep it real. Wheaton, Illinois. There was just me in the office. And because I come from a diverse household, I can move in and out of any circle well, until you let me know I got to do something a little bit different. What I quickly realized, and this is for anyone that gets into the real estate industry, the brokerage is not giving you leads. Like, you are now an entrepreneur, you have to go do the work. What I learned so I started doing homebuyer workshops. My mother moved to Broadview, Illinois. She worked for Heinz VA. She's a retired nurse. She's a retired lieutenant colonel, but she moved to a place where we could grow up, where people look like us. So I graduated from Proviso East, and I went back to my neighborhood. I even now I'm involved in the scholarship program. Like, I help them pick scholarships. So for me, my passion was, I'm going to go back to where I grew up, and I started doing homebuyer workshops. And I worked with mortgage companies. I worked with other grant programs, and I became an expert on FHA. My first loan was FHA. I still own the house. My mortgage is still $500. I have a tenant in that property now, and it was FHA. I became an expert on FHA to help people realize that even if you don't have 20% down, you can buy. And in Wheaton, none of the agents, so all my realtor friends in Wheaton, yes, it's okay. They didn't become experts on FHA until they had to. And my broker would get me the hard deals. And I was like, you know what? I'll take it. So my niche eventually became first-time home buyers, and my niche became first generational buyers, people that lived in the United States their entire life, but their family never owned. And then over time, I realized that people that became citizens of the United States, they were more likely to buy in Illinois than someone that has always lived here. So first time home buyers, first generational, and people that come from outside of the country, because everyone thinks we all have everything when you look, from other countries, But
Right.
people that move here from other countries, they can outwork us pretty much any day, and they will save to buy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
became my
That's
niche.
just-
I love it. I know, right? $500
I was gonna
mortgage. I'm
say,
like,
dang. I know. Good for you.
Right.
well, I would love that.
Right.
Yeah.
But and that's not the house we live in. It's
Yeah.
not the house
It's,
we
you
live
said
in.
it's your rental property, but still, I'm sure you could charge more than $500.
Well, that's my mortgage.
Mortgage. That's a mortgage.
But and,
That's
and and let me just sum it up. Like in all in, so you have mortgage, you have taxes,
Yeah.
and then I have it's a townhouse, so an association, so
Yeah.
it's $1,100. And I'm just gonna tell you,
So
because even if my admin is watching, because my admin lives there, I love her because I know her whole family. I charge $1,600 a month. In that today with the amount of rents, I could probably easily rent for about 2,500, but I don't go up on the rent.
Absolutely. That's
awesome.
I was like, she got a townhouse for 16. That's a phenomenal.
That's amazing.
3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths,
Oh,
2-car garage, full finished basement, backs to
Wow.
nothing, in a cul-de-sac. I know I
Amazing.
can, but sometimes when you have really good tenants, and I'm sure
Yeah.
people are like, "What is she saying?" Like
It's true.
I'm human, and eventually I want them to be able to buy. So
Yeah.
I
And
love it. I'd actually. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
Okay.
cut you off, Adra. So I own my condo now, but before I had I was renting from a realtor, and I started renting right after like the kind of bubble burst. So I got it. I started renting this condo at a pretty low price, and he never really raised my rent that much because he was like a good tenant that pays on time every single month is the best. And I stayed there for 8 years.
you're the story that everyone needs to hear about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The the true realtor professional.
Exactly. And there might have been a few months where I'm like, hey, can you cash the check on the 7th? You know what I mean? Instead of the 2nd.
Right.
And he's like, sure, just, send it to me early. I can see what date it is. And we'll, and that was like maybe 4 times total in 8 years that I asked him for like within a week of like, can I just,
give me some grace, right?
Yeah. I was like, hey, my pay schedule is a little weird. I got this other thing. Can I? Yeah. So, and that was one thing he was like, yeah, like he was like a good tenant that pays on time every month is the most valuable thing. It's so much cheaper than having
And waiting.
Yeah, or having to evict someone,
Right.
or having someone move there for 1 year and then moving out, and then you'd have to like do all this. And when I moved out, it was kind of toward the end of my lease. He knew I was looking to buy. I was renting a 1-bed. I wanted a 2-bed, so couldn't buy that place. But I only double paid 1 month. He'd already found another tenant after that, because he was like, no, he was like, as soon as I can get someone in there, you don't need to pay anymore. Your lease is broken. I'm like, cool.
Oh, that's great. Because sometimes they'll come after you for money. So that's
He was a great.
He's
What?
a hero.
He was a great man. He knew real estate. He, and he was just a good person. And I love that. I love renting from him. So
and that's how like I'm doing right now too. Is I'm renting. So I live in Sharon's home, kind of like from yours. So I'm renting from Sharon, who I've known now for 20. I've been her personal trainer for about 20 years or more. And like, so when this became available, same thing. And Sharon, as you know, Carrie, Sharon is just a little spitfire and
nice. She literally found me at a fair at the affordable housing event that I was emceeing last week, and she was like, "Carrie, you may have gotten a text." And I was like, okay, sure. Sometimes you have to, if you want to get me, you really have to be a little aggressive, because she was serious.
And so but same thing. It's like, and so I'm also right now in the market in the next couple of years. I'm very comfortable here, but I want to get a home, and I always like knew she was going to be a realtor because she's so honest, and she's already given me. She works for Properties, and she's already given me like a whole packet, a notebook with the pen. She gave me this little this jar with a thing on it that says, money to be like, this is my savings jar for my house to be deposited in my home fund at the bank. Like, she's just the cutest person. And it just makes me feel comfortable because she's already given me every document to look over and to study and to like be able to say, hey, I know this stuff, but I want you to write down questions. I'm like manifesting, like writing down everything I want in a house. Not that I'm going to get every single thing, but why not?
Why
put
not?
it all there. Exactly. Why couldn't I? And yeah, so like, to your point, it's just really important to have someone who can make this easy, because I don't know what I'm doing. Like I don't like, I'm not going to try to look for a house. I think you had just done like a quick Instagram thing about, you can sell it by owner or buy, whatever, but pay someone to do the work so that you don't have to, like, I don't want to think about it. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's nice to have someone I completely 100% trust to be able to do that for me and like steer me in the right direction and be able, and also say, no, that's not going to be good. Or I really think you should do this, even if you don't think you can't, like you can. These are the steps, the savings, the this, the that. And so, and she loves you. She like loves listening to you. She's following you. Like, and so I like knew already, I'm like, okay, I have another person to listen to get some tips on things.
I love it. So Carrie, I would have been like, I was every realtor's dream, because I went in and I'm like, these are the 4 buildings I want to live in. That's
You
it.
are the dream
I
client.
had completely, I was like, these are the 4 buildings. Because I knew I wanted to buy at the beginning of the year. I didn't want to buy at the end for like tax purposes. I had been looking, I knew exactly what area I wanted. I had the exact specifics, and only 4 buildings total met those
Perfect.
specifics. And so I was supposed to go see 2 places. The other one went under contract that day. The one I'm in was off market at the time. They got it off market, and we put in an offer for a little bit, and it was like, I was like, boom, this is it.
It's so awesome.
And I like the walls were terrible. Like it was like a burnt chocolatey orange. Like it didn't show well. It was like, a bachelor pad. And I was like, well, I'm going to repaint it anyways. The easiest thing to fix is the painting. And so, now, I got my big accent wall, but it was like, he showed me one place and I was like, yeah, I want it.
Yeah, it's okay to write. It's okay to buy the first one you see. Like, 'cause, people don't believe it, but there's typically not another one unless it's new construction.
And that's the thing. I had made a list of absolutely everything that I wanted, 4 buildings. I had this one, it had been listed the earlier October. I remember looking at it and I was like, sent to my mom and sister, like, the colors are horrible. Don't look at the decorating. I love the floor plan. I love the balcony. I love the location. I really would like this unit. Boom. It's now mine.
That's awesome.
So
That's
easiest
awesome.
transition ever. But wait, hold on. And now she was the realtor. She bought the same day she took her house too.
Yeah, I referred her to an agent in California, and
Oh.
I don't know if she was the realtor's dream when we listed, but because it's sometimes it's work and you get so many offers, but when she went to buy first new construction site, she was like, yep, this is it.
Perfect. Some people, I'm a decisive person. I think my sister looked at like 30 houses before she bought hers. So I know I can see that little.
Whew.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I always tell, if you're buying, you have to live in it. I'm not living there. Yep. So you have to actually decide.
What would you say, is I know it's hard because, you got 1 for me, 30 for my sister. What is the average like that people usually see before they commit? Is there no average? Is it all over the place?
It's all over the place. And I'll say, it really depends on the client, and it really depends on how we educate up front. Because if you tell me you want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and you must have a 2-car garage with air conditioning, that's what we're looking for.
Yep.
But the moment you change the moment you change what you want, or you're looking at other things, even if you're Googling it, I have questions. So typically people know what they want. And if they're not making a decision, there could be another reason. There could be a third party. There could be parents. There could be other reasons. So yeah, I'd have to ask some questions, because typically when you go out, if you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah.
It's okay to look at 30 houses. It really is okay. But if they're and usually it's because there's a lot of homes on the market right now.
And that's what,
inventory is so low. I was looking at the numbers and the data, we had like 15,000 houses on the market at the end of years and at the end of February, and like 2013, 6 times as many. So if, right now you're making decisions quick.
Yeah, you have to. My sister she's in Denver before Denver got hot. So maybe 10 years ago. So there was a lot of inventory. Now when her next door neighbor listed, it went like this. It went for, I think, 110 over ask, all cash. Like,
wow.
Yeah, that's a hot market. So, so how much do you find yourself playing like therapist too? Like when you're doing this?
I am an owner. So
Mhm.
I've fluctuated between 20 and 50 agents.
Mhm.
So I'm a different kind of a
Right,
therapist.
because you don't deal with, yeah, because you're an owner
But I
now.
do still have my network. So I
Okay.
will still go out and even one of my clients that was referred to me from Idaho, she lives here and one of the someone from Women's Council referred me. So I still will go out and play in the sandbox every once in a
Sure.
while, but my husband typically takes out our friends, our family and
Mm.
our clients. Therapist, it depends. Like, there are times when it depending on the client, it's easily, you're gonna feel like you need a drink. You might need some
Mhm.
Pepto Bismol and you might need some Kleenex, depending on, how stressful it is. There was one scenario years ago where there was a couple going through a divorce,
Mm.
and that to me was hard. And it was, I could see the dynamics in the husband and the wife, but it was the kids.
Ooh.
So I called my mom. I'm like, what do I do? She was like, go buy this book. Like, go buy this, and then give it to the parents and give them the ability to give it to them. They can say it's from you if they want. But sometimes you have to, it's not just being a therapist, it's being able to discern what's happening and knowing when to ask different questions,
Mhm.
because
Right.
it's bigger than, a lot of people think we just open doors.
Yeah.
This is literally not HGTV. Like
No.
House Hunters is my mother's favorite show, but when she found out it was staged, maybe I'm ruining this for people, but it is more than that. It is, going figuring out what you want, helping you get approved or fully underwritten, and then
Mhm.
it's helping you understand that you need to do research. Like my sister and I will do a talk on the crossroads of real estate and education,
Mhm.
because I understand real estate. I also understand education, but as a real estate agent, we can't steer. We can't tell you where the school
Right.
what the scores
Mm.
are. But if you ask
Mhm.
me, so Sherry, if you said, "Well, Carrie, well, would you live here?" My response would be, I'm not going to live here, but let me tell you why I live where I live.
Mm.
I live in my city because number 1, I could buy new construction and it was affordable. But I then found out that we offered in the public school systems dual language.
Mm.
So mi hijos hablan español muy perfecto. Like I have 2 kids that are fluent in Spanish
Love it.
because the public school district offered it at kindergarten.
Wow.
So I will say, and
Incredible.
then one of my, so I have a kid that was a gymnast. We traveled. He was baseball first up to bat. He was basketball. Like I had my daughter played softball. Like we have one kid that went D1 basketball. We have kids
Nice.
that were in programs because they didn't have to compete in the school district because it wasn't a unified school district. So usually if someone is like, "Well, what do you say to someone?" It's typically, it's more than just opening the door. It's me helping you. "Oh, so you want a gym? Oh, let me tell you about the park district.
Mm.
Oh, the city I live in has a bucket. We got 4 water slides, 0 depth swimming. It's just like going to the Great Wolf." It is real estate agents know their communities.
Yeah.
So it's
That
bigger
that
than that.
makes sense. BTW, we have some of your fans saying you're the best
Um,
real estate coach. So
yeah.
you started, you found your niche in real estate, right? First time home buyers, first generation Americans, or first ones like in their families. Talk about that transition from being an individual realtor to where you are now, where you have a whole team.
Broker. Mhm.
You're the broker, right? You're in charge of, you're the coach now.
So and there's a story to the coach part.
Mm.
So back in 2007, I was going through a divorce
Hmm.
and I almost lost my house.
Ooh.
So 2007, 2008, 2009, going through a divorce, I had to actually go back to work.
Mm.
So, and when I say I went back to work, I started substitute teaching so
Mm.
I could have a health insurance. And then that's where I ended up working for one of the largest commercial companies in the world. And then I realized my kids were like frustrated that I wasn't available. And that was one of the other reasons why I got into real estate, so I could be flexible and take my kids to
Mhm.
the pool. So in 2008 and 9, I started teaching tech to real estate agents through our multiple listing service.
Mm.
And so, and so after that, I started teaching continuing ed, where I taught agents how to I taught classes that help them keep their licenses.
Right.
So my transition was, and I worked for a very large brokerage, and if it were up to me today, I'd still be there because I liked corporate.
Mhm.
But I was teaching most of the time. I started traveling all over the United States to educate, and my husband was like, I'm remarried.
Mhm.
My husband was like, Carrie, I'm not getting my real estate license unless you hold it. So I was like, okay.
Mhm.
And he said, and think about it. You sell to the people you know. Does it make sense to stay where you're at? So I did a side by side report. And my goal was not to have agents. My goal was to be able to keep teaching,
Mhm.
but hold my own license so I could have my husband take all of my clients. And then, and because I was teaching, like I easily am teaching thousands of people a year.
Wow.
Like,
Mhm.
I teach. I even spoke in the Canary Islands, so that was fun.
Nice.
I even spoke for the Stagers Conference. I really do just teach real estate agents, but there are times when I'm asked to speak to different audiences.
Sure.
So the transition happened officially in 2016. And then when I opened my brokerage, my phone started to ring. And so that is when I started to take on agents. But
Mm.
I do really love teaching. So I still educate, I still travel to teach, but I realized that I had to have systems in place so I could run the brokerage. So again, have almost losing my home because I couldn't afford the mortgage because of the market. We were in, it was the Great Recession was happening.
Yep.
So I shifted a little bit. And then when I realized that I could actually, and I get paid to speak,
Mhm.
and that's the bonus because I actually love that part of it. So 2015, I got my master's degree in digital marketing. I'm already a
Mm.
practitioner of social media. It just
Mhm.
had, and that actually happened by mistake by one of the admin that was in our office in Wheaton. So because I used to edit a television program for a nonprofit, and I started using social media, around 2008 or 9.
Mhm.
I That's when I kind of shifted and I started teaching that to real estate agents. So the coach part is I have my own so I own a real estate brokerage in 2 states,
Mhm.
and then I also have an online classroom. So I have about 300 agents in this online classroom.
Wow.
Amazing. And so when you're coaching, I guess, I mean, there's a lot of things with real estate. And I grew up, my mom was a real estate agent. So I grew up with seeing her, and I wish that there was social media when she was doing it, because I
Yeah, there
feel
was
like
none when I started.
yeah, no. And I guess she started in like the early 90s, late 80s. She worked for Century 21. Ugh, the grossest colors ever. But
They've
anyways,
updated that. They've updated
they
that.
did, they did. But back then it was brown and gold. It was terrible. But I think it would have been great. So and then being a woman, so like for you having advice, because you're different, things that you put out there, you have so much good information. When you have someone that's kind of starting off in like your first, I don't know if you do like seminar, or you do like, 8 weeks of this or all the different things, but when someone's new to your program, what's kind of like, okay, these are going to be these 3 things that we really want to focus on, or more, 3, 5, or what are the top things for you?
So I allow people into the membership in November, and then I
Okay.
close it by
Oh
mid-January
wow.
because I found that when people opt in later, it became hard to get you on track.
Mm.
So my it is an online platform, and I have courses that you can take, and it's segmented where it's called the buyer boot camp, the seller boot camp, social media. I have classes that tech classes for lead generation. I even have an AI section and 10-minute mastery and an entire business section. So if someone were to join and they were new, I have a whole series called Your First 6 Weeks in Real Estate, but I also sell that separately
Mm.
Okay.
for anyone that's new. And it doesn't matter if you're going to go after luxury. There's some basic things you need to do. Now, I mean, I have courses on lead generation. The
Mhm.
membership is every month I do a power hour masterclass. I'm not calling it a masterclass. So I do a 1 hour course to teach them something for an
Mhm.
hour, and we're done. It's a webinar. And then once a month I do a group coaching call. And the reason why I did this was because not everyone can afford to pay me my hourly rate.
Mhm.
Right.
And there are some agents that just need a leg up because they,
Yeah.
you pass this really hard exam, and then wait a minute, I have to pay to be a member of the local, state, and national association to gain access to the multiple listing service, and then I have to also pay the brokerage I work for. What? Yeah, it's not a job. So you are
Mhm.
it now. The barrier to entry is low, and if to be a real estate agent is about $2,500 a year outside, not including marketing or any other things that you buy outside of what the brokerage offers and the association. But only $2,500 is doable for most people. The hardest part is building the business and learning the fundamentals.
Right.
I mean, and when I say the fundamentals, some people don't even know how to write an envelope. Like,
Yeah. Especially now.
Wow.
and you'll have
Yeah.
people that'll transition from working in a I'll say a blue collar world
Hmm.
where maybe you never had to write a letter, or you never
Mm.
had you didn't have business training, but you know how to do the work. And the hardest part of being an entrepreneur, even setting up a podcast, is you have to make the schedule, you have to find the
Hmm.
people to interview, you have to do the work. And my youngest, the 21-year-old, has 300,000 followers on TikTok, and
Dang.
right. He's got two accounts. One's like 120, the other one's 200. And I asked him, I'm like, what is it like being an entrepreneur? What do you think? And he said, Mom, the hardest part about being an entrepreneur is you have to give yourself the work, and you have to take action, and you have to close it. Like, and he's not a
Yep.
real estate agent. And I'm like, if you get this at 21, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So so my membership is a little different. You can't really get in until November, but I teach for my local association. I teach about 150 new agents every month, and then I teach
Wow.
for the multiple listing service. So I always tell people, if you're trying to find me, I'm probably teaching somewhere where you can just show up, or you're if you're in our market, I come to at properties all the time. So like
Yeah.
the
I love
MLS
it.
pays me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So real estate, it does have a pretty high turnover. Realtors in the first, was it three years? I think it is, or I can't remember what the mark is of
I
like.
think it's like the first couple of years, and most agents don't actually earn an income for the first 6 months. Now, I believe
Mhm.
you can make your first income in 30 days. The hustle is real. Like, you literally
Right.
you have to show up, and you have to work Monday through Friday, or you have to realize that you quit your 40-hour a week job to work 80. It is really different, and it is not an inventory business. It is a relationship business.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
have to either talk to people, or you have to be really good with tech. Because I know someone that actually closed 100 deals their first year just using predictive analytics and never talking to anyone on the phone. Like, there's a way
Wow.
to do anything. You just have to be willing to do the work. And most people aren't doing the work. And my sister had me reading this book. Hold on, I'll tell you what it is. And she has 3 versions, and I just finished the second version. Six Figure Side Hustle, I think it is.
Hmm.
And her name
Yeah.
is Rachel Rogers. And at the end of the book, she's telling you, trying to make an income. And at the end, she says, if you really want to quit, she said, before you quit, I have a question. And she says, but did you really try?
Mm.
But did you really try?
Yeah.
So when people come to me and they're like, Carrie, it's not working, or they want to switch brokerages, and I'm a terrible recruiter, my husband would say, because people will call and say, Carrie, I want to work for you. I'm like, do you really? Or do you just think I'm the help desk? And
Mm.
as much, because I had an agent beg to come to me, and she did come, but she's actually doing the work. She just needed someone to kind of coach her, because I coach my agents once a month if they ask me.
Mm.
If you and what I say is, I email them, pretty much every other week, and I'm like, get on my schedule and I'll coach you. We got an hour, and I'll make you do the work. The hardest part for any agent is, it doesn't matter where you go, you have to become the person that learns. You have to figure
Yep.
out how to figure it out.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. You're figure it out. Yep. Well, you had kind of talked about, well, because this is a lot. You're talking now about all this work. There's lots of hours put into it. And, you talked about your family and going and even being a young mother. And for
19.
you, 19, that's young. For you, how with all going through life and busting your ass because you have to in this profession and any entrepreneurial to be successful. And you found different ways. As we talked about behind, back when we were talking, you found your voice. You're here now. Um, I'm interested too, shifting a little bit, going into family. Did you find it really hard to work so hard? Because they say sometimes, you're going to, I think it was Viola Davis in her book about working hard, but then your family's going to suffer. But if you're like super there with your family, then your work's going to suffer. And so can you talk a little bit about that dynamic of family and work and bringing it all together? Because your kids sound like they're doing pretty great.
So when I became licensed, I made a decision that I only needed to make $60,000 a year.
Okay.
Because I wanted to be available for my kids. There are some people that get in any business and they just want to kill it and we want to be rich overnight. Nothing happens overnight. It happens over time with hard work and effort and consistency and asking for the business. So for me, was it perfect? Absolutely not. But I knew that, my mother was a single mom. I said my mom's white, my dad's black, but
Yeah.
my mother raised us by herself.
Same.
And
I get that.
right. So you
I get
already
it.
know.
Yeah.
And it was the 70s and you got two brown kids. So I just my mother showed up to
Mhm.
things, but she couldn't show up to everything. And so I knew that I could be an entrepreneur and I could take my kids to the swimming pool as much as I wanted and then work around their schedules. So I would literally, and this was when I was married before, my husband would go to work. And when he would come home, I would literally wait about an hour and then I would go to the office. And so, and I can't say it was a team effort at all, but I can say that my goal was to work from like 5 p.m. till midnight. And so I was working on marketing, I was following up with clients, and then on the weekends I would take out my clients. So I was really a full-time agent, but I worked the hours that I was able to work because I wanted to be available for my kids. And if I couldn't take out a client, I'm just telling you what I did. I called my girlfriends and I'm like, I need you to get your real estate license. And then we would help each other.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there's always a way to do this. So, do you have to work, hard? There's another agent that I love, Marlene Rubenstein, Highland Park, and we would talk about it. And she's a super, super producer. And her kids would say, Mom, you're gone. She was like, look, what life do you want? I could do this or I could do this. So the key really is you have to get either your kids are on board or your spouse is on board or your partner's on board. You have to figure out how it can all work so everyone wins. So I was at the gymnastics meets. My friends or the other moms would say, Carrie, why are you on your computer? Because I need to get paid. So I'm sitting here and we're watching the volleyball game. So there were some things I had to do, or I was literally writing a contract in the parking lot before the orchestra concert, but I was going to be there. So and I am probably that person. Even today, I never leave home without my office. Like I have a backpack.
I love it. Yeah, I was, growing up with a dad that was an entrepreneur, he probably worked like 80, 100 hours a week, but he was always there at dinner time. Like that was, I'm guessing that was the rule from my mom. But yeah, he was always available at dinner time for a little family time afterwards, and he would go right back to his computer. But it's important, right? Like to make that time for your children, because my dad came to every single track meet of mine, right? He was always around. He worked a ton. He still, went biking a ton. But it was like, I don't know exactly how he did it. He did it on 12 cups of coffee a day, I believe. But, but yeah, it's like, you have to like find a way to juggle it, right? Because you can't you don't want the children there that, don't have that relationship with their parents, right? You just can't let that suffer.
I'm finding today that they're all, over the age of 21, that they're trying to figure out how can we meet and do things together as a family.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm finding that even with kids, they never disappear, and they really want they do want to keep the connection. So there's always that. How do you make sure it works? How do you make sure the kids are okay? And you have to pay attention. If anything changes with kids or a spouse, you have to pause, and you might have to take a break. And it is okay to
Mm-hmm.
get help. You don't have to do it all.
Yep, absolutely. So you had mentioned, I wanted to ask this earlier. So your husband works for you. How is that being the boss of your husband? And how do you balance that in the work world and then also in the home world?
So we just get along extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever follow me on social media, everybody knows. He's a true entrepreneur, and he just lets me be,
Mm.
and I let him be. Now, are there days where he's like, just close your laptop? And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. We really do get along. Now, do we have our debates? And yes, because we literally had a conversation the other day. And well, I'm sorry, before I came down here to go live, I'm in my podcast room. I'm like, you know what? You are the person that makes a decision and you just do it. Like, he's bought 3 houses, and I found out about it after. That's the life of working with your spouse. So I literally, um I, you have to be able to get along, and you have to be able to have conversations. But I learned that he's going to pull the trigger to do something and then figure out how to find the parachute after he jumps out of the airplane. So, and it doesn't work for everyone, but we really do. We laugh, we joke. He is a comedian 24/7.
Yeah. Happy.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, happy birthday Mark, because if
Month.
you're watching, it is the month. I
It's the month.
celebrated for 8 weeks. It is the month. And that pan that he got you, dying. Your first gift, that with the 3 sectional pan for all the cooking breakfast that you're gonna do. Loved it. So that just
Sherry's like,
made me
what's
look.
happening?
I know, like, what is this pan?
So my birthday is April 8th. And
Oh,
so
okay.
I told my
Oh,
husband,
nice.
we were talking about something, and I'm like, I need a birthday present every day. And so he bought something for himself. And so he literally came into my office. I'm like, I'm recording this. And he was like, here's your birthday gift. And he wrote on it birthday gift number 1. And it was from Amazon. And it is a frying pan that's sectioned off for like bacon, eggs, and hash browns. So it's when I tell you my husband is a comedian. And what's interesting is he and I knew each other from high school. And
Oh.
he was like this in high school. So everyone knows my husband as the jokester. And he makes everything fun. And so that's, I think, why real estate is easy for us, because
Okay.
it's not a job. We just really do work well together. So he works on his investment properties and takes out the
Okay.
clients.
So, Mark did not get Mina her gifts.
No,
So,
you're gonna have to come over and help cook.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is the eclipse day.
It is.
It
Yeah,
is.
you're gonna have
Mark
that's a
gonna
wild
make the sun
birthday.
disappear.
Yes, that
Oh.
is the eclipse day. Trying to figure out how to go to
Wow.
Indiana, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, you can't see it here. You're gonna have to take a little,
Right.
little vacay. Maybe he'll do something extra special, like during the how many minutes or whatever it is, the total.
Yeah.
Will he play Total Eclipse of My Heart?
He can. You know, he's a musician, so he plays the organ by ear.
Oh my
So
god!
we'll play that, and right. We'll do that.
There you go.
That'll be fun.
All right, so Mark needs to play
He
Total
needs to
Eclipse
play.
of My Heart on your birthday. It's
Carrie,
it's a thing.
it's
Yes,
set.
do
It's
it.
official.
It's official.
With all this work and play, I mean, obviously, like, it sounds like you guys have so much fun. How, now that all the kids are out of the house and you know, work, how do you self-care?
So this was the year I hired a coach. So, and one of my goals was to protect my yes, because I'm good at saying yes. So, I hired a coach to help me stay on track. I do work out. I try to work out every day, because we have our own gym in the basement. Pandemic helped with that.
Love it.
We've got everything. And then in the summer I do ride my bike, and every 2 weeks I go to the nail salon, and I I take the full, I do the pedicure and the manicure,
Mm.
and I sit there for hours, and my nail tech doesn't talk to me, so it kind of works out. It forces me to stop because you can't,
Mm.
I can't do
Nope, sure
anything.
can't.
And then I like to I read, and I got off track for a moment, but I always come back. So in the mornings when I get up, I let the dog out. I grab, I drink a big cup of water. Then I go back and get a cup of coffee, and I sit in bed and I like journal like the previous day. And I'm like, it's like bullet pointed, just so I can kind of remember what the day before was like. How was I feeling? And one of my girlfriends made me buy that Calm app.
Mm.
Oh yes, it's my
So
niece uses it.
So for me, yeah, self-care is um we bought another house in Florida so we can kind of disappear.
Perfect.
Nice.
Things that I couldn't do decades ago, and things that, like, if someone was listening and like, what? Because we have a few properties now. These are things that I never thought could have been possible, but easy to do if you're consistent, and you try to stay out of TJ Maxx, and even if you don't plan like TJ
Or
Maxx.
stay off Amazon these days.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So there's just some things. So I like that, I get away. And our goal is, because I read that 12-week year is to try to do something every quarter, like just stop. And and I am really good with, my husband and I, we could sit down and we're good with just us. Like, we have that relationship. But
I love it.
the other thing we're trying to do is go out with couples. I have my girlfriends. I even have my friends from kindergarten. Like, we are meeting in, Mina, you're not going to be here, but
Oh,
like April 20th, we're meeting for brunch. We try to connect. We try to keep in touch. Like, we try to,
I love it.
just have human interaction, because it is
Mhm.
so easy with technology to get sucked in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, are you more of a nonfiction reader? Are you a fiction reader? I'm a big reader. So, what gets you? Are you a mix?
I would say I am a nonfiction. Like, I like to learn,
Mm-hmm.
but Lauren, who is now, let's see, I won't tell you her age because people are watching. But the second kid,
Mm-hmm.
when we went to go see the Hunger Games when it came out. Oh, so that works. So that happens when you do this on StreamYard. It happens on Instagram. I don't know if you knew
Oh,
that.
that's
Like, so
I did
interesting.
clearly,
not know that.
so
Oh, what do you
StreamYard
do?
must have added that. It might, if I don't know
It
what
might
I
be.
did.
It might be
I
your.
don't
I
know
don't know
what.
how you did it. That was incredible.
That's
It
You
was
so
did a you
cool.
backwards.
had a thumbs up go
There was a
earlier
thumbs
too.
up
I
before
was like,
too.
So
I
now
don't
we
know.
know it's something.
Okay.
There up. There we go.
Oh,
If you do that, so
that's
we're learning tech.
birthday month. Birthday month.
I know.
Birthday month. So, yeah, as I get sidetracked. So Hunger Games, when it came out, I took the kids to see the movie, and Lauren was like, the little girl that got shot by the bow and arrow. She was like, I'm
Yeah.
done. So that made me go back and read all of those books. So are there some, fictional books that I will go back and read? Yes. So I even, I like to learn, and I even bought Viola's book, but I just haven't read it yet. Um
It's on my list of things to
yeah,
read.
it's in my Audible. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for Audible. So
Same. Yeah.
if someone gives me a really good book and they're like, you should read it, I'll read it.
Okay.
But I like to learn.
Got it. I really loved the book Wellness. It was like about it's
Mm.
fiction. It has like this quote that Phaedra, I might have said it to you before. It was like the one that was like, consistency is the opposite of living, or something, like you just the way that it described, it was about marriage, but it was more about life. And I wish I had that quote. Hold on, I'll find it. Phaedra, ask a question, because I'm going to find
Oh
this
yeah.
quote.
Okay.
Because
I'll find it.
sometimes you just read something and you're like, that just
So
So
I
I'll
just
I'll
spoke to me.
have to download
yeah.
that.
That was
Wait,
so
I have it
you're
absolutely right here. Hold on.
okay. Good.
And maybe the only stories that have neat and certain conclusions were lies and fables and conspiracies. Maybe it was like Dr. Sanborn said, certainty was just a story the mind created to defend itself against the pain of living, which meant, by almost by definition, that certainty was a way to avoid living. You could choose to be certain, or you could choose to be alive.
That's
That's beautiful.
I have never taken a photo of a quote in a book before,
You did
and
send that
I
to
just
me.
I just found that so beautiful that I've shared it with multiple people, because it's like hearing your journey and seeing this of like, you're not afraid to take risks, right? And if we always take the easy path, we
I
will
will
never.
take the easy path if I can,
It's
because I'm
called
married to.
Wellness.
Yeah.
Book is called Wellness.
Oh, I just texted you, Mina.
Mhm.
So I can write it down. So yeah, taking the risk, when you get a little bit older, you're like, you think about it. But if whether you're watching this live or the replay, don't be afraid to take the risk. What the
Yeah.
worst thing that could happen is you have to start over. Like all these people that are, famous, like Disney, like he took a risk. It didn't work
Yeah.
out well, but he took a risk. If you have an idea, take a risk.
Yeah.
And the risk is at any age now too. I don't know if any of either of you or any of you watching has seen. There was something that comes up randomly on social media, and it's a list of entrepreneurs or business owners or whatever business they're doing and what age they've done them at. So like Vera Wang, and just I can't even remember all of them because there were so many famous whatevers, and like starting in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. There's an actress that just came out and she did her first movie in her 80s, you know what I mean? And it doesn't have to start once you get out of college. It's like live it and and get experience and choose what you want to. You were going to be a fashion designer, Carrie, and
Yeah, when I tell you, my sister will tell you, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, I was making prom dresses. Like
Oh,
people,
wow.
but and one of my other friends who happens to be a real estate agent, when we became friends, she was like, Carrie, I kind of know you, but do you remember you designed my sister's dress for prom?
Oh
And so
my
she
God.
showed me the drawing. So yeah, that's in my spare time, but now you could just rent the runway, so it's so hard.
Oh, girl, don't get me. I love Rent the Runway so much. So yeah, I in my regular world, I work in insurance, and I just switched different ways. Like
Trajectories,
I
yeah.
was going one way and I completely turned around and did a completely different thing. And it got to the point, it was like that perfect storm of like reading that book, right? Having these things. And it was like, I'll be 40 this year. If I don't do this now, I probably never will. And it's something that I've thought about doing for a while. So but I've always had reasons of why I did it. And I had valid reasons before, but now those reasons aren't valid anymore. So let's, instead of being like the expert in one area that people are always asking the questions, you're the trainer, you're the coach.
Yeah.
Let me go somewhere else. Now I'm asking people for help. So it is, it's different, but yeah, you're never too old to do it. But it is like in your head, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of like, I mean, technically it's a little lateral, but it's like, I'm not, growing, I'm like going different to go somewhere else. But it's like, yeah, I think I'll like that.
Yeah, it's good to change. It's good to pivot if you need to pivot, and you might even
Absolutely.
have better ideas.
And that's the thing too. I have way more experience, you know what I mean, in other things. So BTW, we have a Naperville triathlon.
Oh,
So
I guess we're
after
all
we get
doing the Naperville
girl, I'm just saying.
All right, Philomena, you are challenging us. Here we go.
So
That's
Carrie,
funny.
I've loved, learning so much about you, like your journey. You're there. I just, again, like when Phaedra first sent me your info, I went, your Instagram, first of all, is just so bright and
Right.
cheerful, and it was like a beautiful visual experience.
Yeah, I hired someone to get me together. Like my
I love it.
girlfriend, one of my agents is a photographer, and she was like, Carrie, just trust me. And I'm like, okay. And then I actually hired someone who's an architect to help me with my brand colors. And so she literally
Ah.
built out my content, and I can create my own content now,
Sure.
but it helped me rethink what I was really looking for. Simple, kind of conservative, but just to make you want to at least kind of binge scroll through my
Yeah.
feed.
Yeah.
That's why I did that.
Guilty, kind of,
Guilty, yeah.
feminine, but not like
It's
girly.
strong. It's
Yeah, like
super strong.
Right.
strong, strong woman. So first of all, big fan of whoever built that. They did a great
Yeah.
job, and yes, it is noticed. But kind of, as we're wrapping up our time with you, as much as I'd love to talk to you for 15 hours, what does Carrie have on the agenda for 2024? So, do you, if you had a vision board or something, like what is you're going for, personal, professional, athletic? We already know the athletic one.
We all know now. We're all doing it.
Right. We're gonna all be athletes. So 2024. Now professional, I want to hire someone to manage me, like the Pepper Potts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just need someone. I just want to hire someone by October to manage me. So I have that's a part of my 2024 goals. The other thing is to kind of I won't say rebuild Caremark Realty, but to rebuild what it looks like for the outside world. And I say that because I'm very involved in our industry, and there's some things I'm about to do that aren't public yet, and I need to have people in place to help run the company. Now, my personal goal is I want an Airbnb, but that's always up for debate. So I would love. I went through the Goldman Sachs 10 KSB program, and I would love to build my online platform out to the point where I don't have to do the once a month power hour, but
Mhm.
maybe I can get other people to also help educate the agents.
I
Perfect.
like that. I love it. Always coaching, always teaching.
Giving you some
Yeah,
time
always.
to now do some other things.
Yeah, because I mean, one of my friends encouraged me to get the minority business certification,
Mhm.
and the women's business certification. Like you could even do it for this podcast,
Mhm.
just so I can have a few more options. So the other thing that I didn't mention is my husband and I are in a diverse developers group, and we're learning how to build with inventory so low. And I love our clients. We love taking clients out. We love helping them get their homes on the market and selling them. But I would also like to be able to build tiny homes. And when you hear the word affordable housing, you people usually go to the negative, and that's not what it means. It means for the workforce or the missing middle, people that are keeping America, because there are people
Yep.
that are in that middle income. So we would love to be able to build and develop. And there's some projects that I would like to do to make them like when I like live work. I saw some really cool not opportunities, but buildings in Florida, and I was like, that would be cool. Because even Phaedra, if you had a gym and then you could go home and work, but then you had two other units that you could rent out to someone
Yep.
else, but it's your space, but you could rent them out, it's sustainable. Like there's, we have all of these empty buildings because commercial kind of took a really big hit during the pandemic.
Mhm.
What can we do better? So one of our pillars is Mark and I want to develop. I just want an Airbnb because I want to try it. But I really do. I would love to. I want to hire someone to help manage me, like,
Mm.
so I don't,
Yeah.
so I can stay
Yeah,
on
think
track,
about
or
it.
someone can say, Carrie, no, you can't do that.
I love it.
And that's what my coach is helping me with. So yeah.
That's great to hear a coach having a coach, right? Because everyone should have a mentor. Everyone should have their sounding board, right? No one can do it alone.
You can't. And it's hard because I am the person that could do it alone. But when you realize if you just get someone else to help you, like both of you doing the podcast together, is better.
Yes,
it is. It's just
it is.
better.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's because I did it by myself for a while, and I was like, I can't do it by myself anymore. I need someone else here. And then Phaedra came into my life, and it was perfect. And she was in a beautiful blue dress.
I'll have to come. I'm assuming you're downtown, Sherry. You don't have to tell me, but I have to come downtown, and we'll have to go coffee, dinner, something.
Yes, I live by Wrigley Field, and I work downtown in the Loop. So, yes, I am a Chicago girl.
And maybe I have a condo in the South Loop, and I might be at Wrigley Field on Saturday.
Woo, woo. Well, if I
Oh.
don't go to Mexico because of my ankle, I'll be
Go to
around
Mexico.
in
You
San
gotta go. Go.
Girl,
Just get the
I don't know.
wheelchair.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I got to do the smart thing. You know, I got races coming up this year. I got other trips coming up. I need to think of everything from a long-term perspective. Just like, you know, you say you have a coach. One of my best friends is a doctor of physical therapy. I have an on-call physical therapist. We need to discuss this. All these Cubs fans coming out of the
Yeah,
woodworks.
look at them.
Woo, woo, ooh, another Cubs
Thank you,
fan. She didn't even say
Kristen.
you have a Kristen's a Cubs fan. She's one of our co-hosts for our Plunked baseball show.
Oh,
So she is our
I
network's
can see that.
resident a Cubs fan. Woo, woo.
So yeah, I grew up to baseball. My family, our
Okay.
entire family is Sox fans, but my mother, the Park District, took Mina and I to the Cubs games. So we're Cubs fans.
There you go. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And it's, you know, you need to have someone, right, to bounce stuff off. It just makes things better. And also, yes, go Cubs, go fly
Yes,
that
go
W.
Cubs. I know. Is this their first game is on Saturday? Yeah, this
Baseball
is
and
the
physics.
opener.
No, they had season opener
Oh,
yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Okay, I missed it.
Monday.
Monday.
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know
that
what
was the
day it
first.
is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm all over the place.
Yes,
Very
absolutely.
cool.
Well, Carrie, thank you so much for
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on. I'm going to hold you to our dinner, coffee, social hour, mimosas, whatever you want, rosé, whatever you're drinking, I'm drinking. And so
Okay.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Of
Carrie.
course. Oh, she was wonderful.
No,
Absolutely. Yes, my girl, Kristen. Thank you. Yes.
I love it.
Great, inspiring. Go Cubs, go. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mina, for bringing it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get the other twin, Mina,
I
on
know.
because it's like, oh, research
Yes,
into
Mina will be coming.
AI. Yes, we're coming for you.
We're coming for
Masters
you
in
next.
education, like all these things that I also very much enjoy.
Same.
Speaking
I'm looking
of,
forward to that.
yeah. Well, thanks, Phaedra, for bringing her on. You were right.
Thank you. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I just, and thank you, Sharon, because I know she'll be watching if she's not already. Thank you for bringing. Thanks,
It's
Mina.
official. She's coming on.
Yes. Yay, we got it. Yeah, so that was fun. And I know just looking at some of the stuff they had, I'm very interested in being an entrepreneur myself, kind of going through
Yeah.
a little bit more and seeing what, some stuff, because I've already seen a few of the things and I was like, ooh, that's a great idea. Thank you, Philomena. I'm like, oh, I think I kind of like this idea, and just like little things you don't think about. And
I love it.
yeah.
And if you're looking to purchase your own place, your first
I
one,
know.
not as a married woman, like, yeah, that's a big
Yeah.
step.
Huge. Yeah.
It's a lot owning a place by yourself. Like, every decision you make is yours. But in the end of the day, it's yours.
Scary. Yeah.
It's scary, but in a good way.
Oh, good. Thank you for that. Cause I'm I'm a little, I'm not terrified, but I definitely am all right. I'm like, it's going to come and it's going to be like great. And, yeah, we'll see what happens. So,
it is, like taxes are no joke around here. It's like gonna have
because you're in the
assessment.
city.
Yeah, because of the elevator going out. But it's like, if I were to compile all the money that I've paid for this place, someday when I sell it, how much would I have paid in rent to get something similar? I do think that it will come out in my favor, especially when I look at like where I live and when, Redfin sends you a little estimate, but see like what the comps go for in my area and knowing what I paid, I'm like, I cannot afford to buy into my building right now. So good thing,
that's a great thing.
Yeah, it's like good thing I bought it when I did. And that's also the reason why I live where I live, because I also have a little place that's going to be a little up and coming.
There you go. Well, you do a great one.
Thank you.
Well,
so Phaedra, I'm excited to get your journey going on that too.
I know, I am too, and you'll be here with me for it, lady. So get that ankle better, because now we've got a triathlon to prepare for. Thanks, Sherry.
Oh my God!
Always getting me into stuff. I'm going to be.
That's what I do. But yeah, stay active, guys. And on that note, wait, hold on, I don't have it. There we go. On that note,
this has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
bye.
Bye.